You're tuned into No Good Music.
And here are your hosts, Rob and Jeremy.
Oh, thank you. Hey, Jeremy's back with me. And we're doing kind of probably be a short podcast, but we wanted to talk to you about our trip to Maryland to see a band that neither one of us had ever seen and we both love, is AC/DC.
Bucket list
Yes.
accomplished.
So we got our tickets back in December, and one of my friends thought it would have been funny if it was spur of the moment. Hey, you want to go to Maryland this weekend? But she thought we had just got the tickets. But anyway, and like I've said before, I kind of swore off stadium tours since I saw the Chili Peppers some years ago. Just the noise levels, and I did bring my earplugs. And the tickets weren't cheap. This was at, the other funny thing is this was at, what is it called?
Northeast Stadium, I think, or something.
Yeah, where the Washington Commanders play.
Yeah.
Used to be the Redskins Stadium, same stadium. I have my son and I, so I don't know how many years ago it was, we decided we were going to meet Matt and his son at the stadium to see a football game, and it was awful. It's like 3.5 hour drive, which is fine. We had to park down the street. By the time we got into the stadium, ate and sat down, I swear it was like the half of the game was over.
Wow.
And then you got to drive back 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
So Jeremy and I did this the correct way. First of all, AC/DC wasn't playing Philadelphia. The closest was either Pittsburgh or Maryland.
Yep.
And I think Pittsburgh is, I don't know, you've been to Pittsburgh. I don't know how far.
Well, from me,
From
it's,
you.
it's about 3 hours and 45 minutes, but you got to figure it takes me an hour and a half to get here. So you can probably 5 hours from here.
Yeah. So we decided, we're not going to see a concert and drive back. So we did get a place to stay. And it was a decent place. And we were 45 minutes from the stadium, but it took us 2 hours?
2.5 hours to get in.
Yeah. So you have these things that come up. If it goes really smooth, it's probably a miracle. But the big thing was the concert, and we had, I want to say floor seats, but they were field seats because we were in a football stadium. We had decent seats. We weren't in the very last section. We were in like the third, I think.
Kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
Just past the middle.
Yeah, and we were in like the third row of that section.
Yeah.
But it was, I guess we'll talk about before the concert, it seemed to be only one or two merchandise stations. I don't know what you want to get into, Jeremy, but when did we saw, so the Pretty Reckless opened, which was a nice little set. I think it was like 8 songs. I don't have the set list here. And they've been opening all the shows with AC/DC, and they play the same songs. AC/DC was playing the same set list, which makes it easy for the band, not to throw in a obscure song, especially with the graphics that they had, the big screen behind them, everything's it's a plan, these are the songs we're gonna do.
Right.
I like the Pretty Reckless, but I don't know, the band, it's Taylor Momsen, and I told there was a guy sitting next to me. I asked him if he had ever seen them or knew, and I told him that if you know the Pretty Reckless and you know Taylor Momsen, what I'm about to say is that she was when she was very little, very young. She was in The Grinch with Jim Carrey, Cindy Lou Who. But I didn't get the feeling that her and the band were like tight. Like it was Taylor Momsen, because she's the lead singer. I don't think she played an instrument. I'm not sure. But, you know, some bands are like they kind of feed off each other. And, you know, I didn't get that. You know, it was still good.
You enjoyed them more than I did. I wasn't a big... I don't want to say I wasn't a big fan, but they didn't blow me away by any stretch. There's been a lot of opening bands, and this actually just happened to Kristen the other night. She went to a show, and she loved the opening act better than the main act.
Yeah.
And I've been there where the opening act really left an impression on me.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that from them, unfortunately.
Well, the opening act didn't blow away the main act, because I love AC/DC. But,
for sure, yeah.
And I forget, I think it was Peter Frampton. I remember saying about just try to blow away when they were starting out his band, the headliner. Do the best you can so that you can someday, I guess, be the headliner.
Right.
So I think it was after Pretty Reckless came on. Like I said, it took us a lot longer than we intended to get there. The thing was, once we got in there, we made some good decisions, or I did. First of all, in getting the hotel.
Yep.
And then also getting the parking pass.
Yep, for sure.
And we literally, caught some traffic going in. But once we got into the parking lot, we were right there.
Right.
And we thought we were going to miss a little bit of the Pretty Reckless, but we didn't. So we got to our seats in time. And Jeremy kindly said he'd buy my first beer, which was my only beer. And Jeremy, tell us what 2 beers cost you.
$48.
Yeah. The most, I think, I've never heard of beer at an event costing $24. And it was, what was it?
A Modelo.
A Modelo, yeah. Yes.
And that was my only beer as well.
Yeah. And Jeremy was driving, but even though I wasn't driving, I just I let Jeremy buy me a beer, but then I could have bought Jeremy a beer, I guess, but I would have had to spend another $50.
Not worth it.
And
we had Guinness waiting for us at the hotel.
Oh yeah. And then because we did spend the T-shirts were $50.
Yeah.
Now it was very well organized. I don't know how many. I want to say there was only one merch table, but maybe if you walked around the stadium, maybe there was another one.
Right.
Very well organized. We were a little, because this was after the Pretty Reckless. I think we left
with like 2 or 3 songs.
2 or 3 songs. We wanted to get back in there, of course, to see AC/DC.
Yeah.
And the line just wrapped around, the side of the merch table and then up this ramp. So, there was hundreds of people, and we thought, I was thinking we're not going to get in there in time. But it was very well organized in that there were 3 or 4 people at the merch, the salespeople. Yep. There weren't like one person. They had they had some cool items. They had hats. And what both of us can kick ourselves not getting was the poster.
For sure.
Because each town... And this was unique. And I know Dave Matthews has done this, probably other bands, where they have a special poster not signed, but numbered, limited edition. And I think it was 600 and some they printed. And it was $75.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But they didn't... It was kind of poor marketing on their part because they didn't say that. They didn't have any kind of notes on there. It was just hung up on the wall as a poster.
Yeah.
So you would just think, oh, wow, it's a $75 poster. Like,
yeah,
I could take it or leave it. But had we known it was limited edition, numbered, I probably would have gotten one because I was on the fence about it.
Because now they're, I think I saw one for $150 on eBay, but still.
Yeah.
So it's double. I don't know if I come into some money, maybe I'll buy one. But so that was cool. And like I said, the shirts were $50, but they had a very good variety. They probably had like 6 different shirts. And the one I'm wearing now, you can't see, but it's specific to Landover.
Yeah. On
the back, it has the date, just that date. And I don't know if they probably had hoodies.
They did. They had one.
Yeah.
I'm watching it on the store.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to get one, but not for $120 or whatever. I'm hoping it kind of goes on sale.
And then there was another merch table, which was, he obviously got permission. I think it was the guy's only his own artwork, or reinterpreted artwork of either Angus and Brian or both. And those are posters. Those were cool.
Yep.
Jeremy you got one of those, or you get one or two of those?
No, I got one. It was a full-size poster, but it had all the tour dates on the poster. It was Brian and Angus.
Yeah. But I wish the guy had one, and it was probably of the, I don't know if it was this tour or a recent tour, and I would have liked like a kind of a vintage kind of look, maybe with the whole band, the original band, like a live photo of them playing live.
The only other thing, I wish, so two things. One, we had if you ever go to like conventions or, even Halloween time, there's cosplayers. And there was a guy in front of us that looked just like Angus Young.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
He was wearing a schoolboy uniform.
Yeah, a lot of people were getting pictures with him. The other thing, you could get light up devil horns, which were really cool. Mm-hmm. If you know Angus, back in his younger days, he always had the devil horns. It's kind of an AC/DC trademark. But these things were like $35 for light up devil horns. So it would have been cool to have, but at the same time, $10, yeah, maybe 15 even, but like.
But it was cool once it got dark, seeing everybody with the devil. Not everybody, but a lot of people with devil.
A lot of people in the stadium, yeah. So
I'm gonna crack open this seltzer real quick. Oh my god, the tab broke. No, I guess I'm not having seltzer. I had that happen with a soup can.
Oh jeez.
And then I was able to take the can opener that we have and get the lid off.
Old school.
Well, it was a store brand soup, but yeah. So the show they just ended the tour. I think
Cleveland.
Well, I think they ended the U.S. I'm not sure. They're playing in the U.K. or
maybe, I don't know. But if going back to your impromptu statement, if I were to do an impromptu, it would have been to Cleveland again because tickets were like $30. Now, granted, those would have been nosebleeds or very far out, but at that point, it would have just been to go again.
Yeah. I mean, our price was with the parking pass and the fees. The fees are
brutal.
Like the ticket itself was, I think, $220.
Yeah.
But then you got the fees. The fees added another $80, and then the parking pass. So it was $350 each for us to go see a concert. But I'm telling you, it was one of the best concerts I've seen, besides some of the U2, the old U2 concerts that I saw. But the energy that the band still has. I mean, Brian Johnson's not running around the stage, but Angus, he's 70.
Yep.
I thought he was older. Brian's 78, I think.
Yep.
And then they got a couple other older musicians there. But Angus, he was doing the duck walk a couple times. And then each show, it starts out. See, this is the other thing. I looked at the set list. Jeremy's like, don't tell me what they're playing. Because Jeremy did his top 30, counting down to the day we saw the show. I think we saw the show. So I noticed there were a couple, like, some of his top songs on his top 10. We're going to go over our top 10. And, but I so wanted to tell Jeremy, this is what they're going to start with, So they did. So this was May 12th, Landover, Maryland, like we said. And there's a little confusion, I think, with Taylor Momsen, because she was posting that she was playing Washington, D.C., which is not, it's next to it, but it's not the same place. Right. So they start with If You Want Blood, You've Got It. And I don't know if that was your number one. Well, we'll find out. Back in Black, Demon Fire, I wasn't familiar with. Shot Down in Flames, Thunderstruck, loves Thunderstruck. Have a Drink on Me, Hell's Bells, and I think Hell's Bells, they had a bell that dropped down. I don't know if it was metal or they just made it sound like it was ringing. Shot in the Dark, Stiff Upper Lip, Highway to Hell, Shoot the Thrill, Sin City, Rock and Roll Train, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, High Voltage, Riff Raff, You Shook Me All Night Long, Whole Lot of Rosie, Let There Be Rock, and that had Angus doing his guitar solo.
Yep.
Which I have to tell you I wasn't that impressed, because he was kind of doing, Angus is a good guitarist. He's a lot better than, a lot of people, but he's not really I don't know. I don't see him as a jam, like to do like guitar solos. I really don't. I mean, there are songs, AC/DC songs, if you listen closely, he goes off the bar chords that he usually plays. Mm-hmm. And he was trying to get the crowd's reaction. He'd play something, and then I think he was trying to get the crowd to yell or...
Right.
And in the encore, we had 2 songs, TNT, and a song that both Jeremy and I love, For Those About to Rock, We Salute You, with the cannon fire.
Yep.
And then Fireworks. We had cool. Fireworks.
That was cool.
Yeah. I think if you go on our Instagram, No Good Music, I posted on there. You can see our video, my videos of some of the songs, and I think the Fireworks. So yeah, I think it was one of the... How do you rate the concert? I mean, I rated it like a 10.
I was gonna say it was a 10 out of 10 for me, and I had a buddy of mine from college actually thought about going to see him in Michigan. Mm-hmm. And he's like, so how was the show? I said, I loved it, but they're also my all-time favorite band. Yeah. So I went into it knowing that Brian Johnson isn't going to hit insane vocals or, Angus might not be running all over the stage, which he surprised me with his energy, to be completely honest. But I said to him, if you were looking for a vocal masterpiece, you would have been disappointed, because that's not what it was. It was the experience. And he's like, oh, well, I'm glad I didn't go then, because I want to hear them sing their songs. And I was like... Yeah, that's not what it was. It was an experience of just rock and roll from the 70s and 80s.
The band was tight, though.
Yeah.
And even though we were way back, I put earplugs in. I probably didn't have them in for the first 1 or 2 songs. But then I took them out for the encore, and you don't realize how loud. I have this little app on my phone. I don't know how accurate it is, but we were hitting 130, 140 decibels. Mm-hmm. So it was loud. I can't imagine being like right up there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and then I looked around. I always look around to see if other people were wearing earplugs. There was a person behind us, and I swear she had to be in her 90s. And I'm not making fun because of her age, but I was surprised she didn't have the earplugs in.
Yeah.
But I have hearing problems to begin with, where my left ear is muffled. I had a problem. Anyway, I won't go into it, but so I can hardly hear out of that ear. So I got to really protect my other ear,
right?
Or I'm going to be almost deaf. We love music, and you need ears to hear music.
Yep.
So
one thing about the set list. So I told you not to tell me, because I know 99.9% of AC/DC songs.
Yeah.
They played 2 new songs off of the Power Up album, and I've listened to that album top to bottom many, many times.
Yeah.
They picked the 2 songs that are probably my least favorite from the album. I would have loved to hear anything else.
Was that Demon Fire?
Demon Fire, and there was one other one.
Well, where's Rock and Roll Train from? So that's from an older one.
That is from Black Ice.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe was it Riff Raff?
Nope, that's that's a original. It was Demon Fire, and then I'd have to look at the set list. It was like, I want to say like 16 or 17.
Sin City?
Nope, no. That's an original.
Yeah, I don't know.
Shot in the Dark.
Oh, Shot in the Dark
is the other one.
Oh, okay.
That I'm not a huge fan of. That's a new song.
Okay. So Demon Fire and Shot in the Dark. Yeah, they're off for the new one. I have to listen to that a couple more times.
Actually, when that first came out, it was right around COVID time. I got a special edition. I've got like this box that you can push the button. What I have. It lights up and plays. So
yeah, it plays a little bit of one of the songs.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to say anything else. We did have kind of a weird experience at the hotel the next morning. Jeremy got down there before I did, because Jeremy works nights.
Yeah.
So Jeremy's, he slept, but he was up a lot. You know, back in the day, like even last year or before, Jeremy would sleep he would probably sleep later than I would. So I get up around 9. Plus the clock, I forgot. I think I knew it, but the clock was off by 20 minutes.
Right.
But breakfast was till like 10. So anyway, Jeremy was already down there. And I sit down, and I didn't know Jeremy had talked to this woman that was kind of milling about. But when Jeremy, I think you left.
I had to use the restroom or something. I don't know. I went upstairs. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And this woman is talking. There's a centerpiece in the middle of the table. And it was like some shell. It looked like a seashell. Huge. She starts talking to me about it. And I could tell immediately she was a little strange.
Right.
And so I'm talking to her, and then I start to get up. And she like... I get up and I turn left and I see this guy standing out, you know, because it was right off where you check in. And I guess he was checking out, but he's looking at me, and I hear the girl behind me like, oh, look, there's my boyfriend. He probably wonders why I'm talking to this strange man. And I didn't know what to say. And I'm like, I just hightailed it out of there. Yeah. I threw my breakfast in the garbage or what was left. And I didn't even look at him, and I got on the elevator because I'm like, I don't know what this is. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd seen him earlier. They seemed to, I don't know.
No, she seemed really strange. Yeah. Like, I'll talk to people. I like talking to people I don't know. But the conversation was when she was talking about the centerpiece, and I don't know. It wasn't normal.
Well, she was a fairly attractive female, but I feel like just from the interaction I had, it seemed like she may have been maybe on the spectrum or something.
Okay. Yeah.
That just, there was a wire that wasn't quite attached all the way.
Yeah. So, and the guy had her on a leash. So
yeah. Yeah. He seemed to be, I don't know if overprotective
literally,
is the word.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So otherwise, yeah, I think I slept pretty good. And then, yeah, and we drove home the next day. And
that was a long drive because it rained the whole day.
Yeah, it was kind of depressing.
You also almost lost your concert shirt. I don't know if you wanted to talk about that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, when we pulled in that night, and it was pouring down rain, and the shirt was on my lap, so I got out of Jeremy's car, and then I think it was probably the next morning. I'm like, did I leave my shirt in the car? And then when we were walking up to the car, I see something else laying on the ground, something black, and it was my shirt, and it was soaking wet.
Yep.
Outside of the car. Yep. And luckily, the car parked next to us, or the truck, hadn't moved.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they would have picked it up and be like, ooh, AC/DC shirt, I'm taking this, you know. Yeah. And for $50, you know, I would have lost. Plus, I would have had to try and find this shirt again.
Right.
So, yeah. So we have our top, like I said, Jeremy did his top 30, but we're only going to go through the 10. You want me to start?
Sure. You already know mine. This is a rarity.
Well, I noted where yours are, too.
Okay.
But, so mine 10 is, and I kind of forgot about this song, but when I heard it recently, I'm like, oh my God, I love the guitar riff in this song. Mm-hmm. And it's Big Gun.
Okay.
And it's kind of an obscure one because it's from Last Action Hero. Yeah, and there's, believe it or not, the guy that plays drums on this, we're trying to get an interview with, Chris Slade. Mm-hmm. So he actually he plays drums on this. I think he's in the video. He's got to be in the video.
Okay.
So anyway, that's my number 10, Big Gun. But you know that riff. Mm-hmm. And I found out how to play that riff. I haven't tried it yet, but that's my new thing now, is to see if I can do that riff.
Okay. Cool. So my number 10 was actually one of the encore songs. I have TNT.
Okay.
At number 10 from High Voltage. And for those who didn't follow me online or see my list, I did make it public. So if you search for me, Rob tags me a lot of times in posts. So you can actually see that, because a lot of my stuff only my friends can see, but that one is a public post.
Yeah, Jeremy Dugans.
Yeah. And I did have, some hits that ended up in my top 10, but something that I loved about my list was I felt a pretty good variety of hits and non-hits throughout it.
Yeah.
So there were some, songs that people would probably have as like their top, 3 or 4 that were down in my 20s.
Yeah.
Because if it's overplayed or maybe I got sick of hearing it, it moved down my list from that aspect, as opposed to not necessarily that it's a bad song, just that, Yeah,
that's like for me, because I only did my top 10, is like there are songs that are so overplayed. Mm-hmm. I still love the song.
Right.
But is it really, should it be in my top 10? Because I could also do without hearing, because it's been ingrained in my head. Mm-hmm. And we know what the songs are. And we'll probably mention a couple of them. But yeah, and because the radio station, and of course I'm a lot older than Jeremy, so I remember when these came out, especially from Back in Black. I mentioned Back in Black. But they were just played constantly. They still are.
Right.
On Z95. Like, you could probably put the radio on now, and pretty good chance you're going to get You Shook Me All Night Long, or you're going to get one of those.
Yep.
And, yeah. So, now my number 9, and this was, because if it's not on your top 10, I'm going to tell you what number Jeremy put it at.
Okay.
If it's not on his top 10.
Okay.
Who Made Who?
Uh-huh.
Jeremy had it number 18.
Yep.
I always liked that song. I like that song. Certain songs, when you first hear them, like, oh, I really like, so I remember these when they first came out.
Mm-hmm.
And not necessarily hearing overplay, like Who Made Who wasn't that overplayed.
No, it's a good song too.
Yeah. Or maybe I saw the video, when MTV was a thing. You might have seen AC/DC.
Right. Yeah. I struggled too with this because I did 30 songs that could have probably been 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D.
Yeah.
So Who Made Who, one of the things I love about that is that it's just a different sound. It's not that typical AC/DC that comes on and you immediately know it's them. You got to wait until it kind of gets into it a little bit, and then you hear Brian singing, and it's like,
it's got a pretty good chorus,
Yeah.
in that one.
Yeah. Number 9 for me was a fun one that you didn't know a little fun fact about it. So,
oh yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
It's The Jack.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the song, you hear Brian, or actually, I think it's Bon Scott back in the day.
Yeah.
Initially talking about poker or playing cards, or at least that's what you think. But it's actually a song about getting gonorrhea.
Yeah.
From Woman Who Sleeps Around. Mm-hmm. And that's why she's always winning with The Jack.
Yeah, Matt was here a couple of days ago, and I was saying I'd like to eventually do a podcast on songs that mean something different than you think they mean. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of the song I was telling him about. What was the song? If it comes to me, I'll remember it. It was James Blunt, You're Beautiful. You know that song? This song's about him stalking a woman. And if you look at the lyrics, like, I didn't even know he's singing that. Anyway, so.
Huh.
Okay, my number 9 is Jeremy's number 30, Touch Too Much. I've always loved this song.
It's a good song.
Yeah. And I think that's Bon Scott, Touch Too Much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Highway to Hell was the last album with Bon Scott.
Yeah.
What are we, number 8? I got Hell's Bells, Back in Black.
Okay.
Even though, so this one, to be fair, is played quite often. Mm-hmm. It's still something, I just love the aspect of using a bell the way they did.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know, just unique. I mean, Metallica is the only other one that comes to mind who used a bell in a song. And then to actually see, if you watch old video, we didn't get to see Brian Johnson do this, but he actually swings from a huge bell in many other concerts in his younger years. Mm-hmm. So, just that whole album, top to bottom, is amazing. The Back in Black album.
That's one of my least favorite, by the way.
Hell's Bells, the song? Okay.
I don't even know if I put it in my top 30.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know. I just never liked that song. But everybody, people hear different things. Like, you like it because of the bells.
Right.
I probably didn't like it because of the bells. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. So my number 7 is, it's an overplayed song, and I think it's probably played in sports stadiums and maybe Thunderstruck.
Oh yeah, great song.
And I have here, it's their Paradise City.
Yeah.
And it really is Guns N' Roses. Paradise City, I could do without hearing that, but I love AC/DC. I've gotten to not like Guns N' Roses as much as I used to. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, something about that song. Jeremy had it. Oh, I'm not going to tell. It's coming up on Jeremy's list.
Yep.
So what was your number? I think we're on 7.
Number 7, yeah. Number 7 was the guitar solo that we saw live. So Let There Be Rock, off of that same album. Long song. If you've never heard it, it's very long. They're telling a story about let there be sound and guitar and drums, and then they're jamming out, and of course Angus goes off on guitar solo. So I personally enjoyed that part of the show. I know you said you weren't a big fan, but again, different strokes for different folks.
No, I have that song as number 6.
Okay.
I do like that. Yeah, I do like that song. And also for our listeners, give these songs a listen. If you're not real familiar with Ace, then maybe you only know You Shook Me All Night Long, but delve into even the Bon Scott albums. They were just unique, Yep. I mean, if you sort of like AC/DC, you're good. Go by our list and listen to these.
Yeah.
Because these are our favorites.
Yeah. 6 is one that'll, for me, oh, sorry, were you done?
No, yeah, I'm done.
Okay. My 6, a lot of people probably don't know this song, but it's really freaking cool. They actually use bagpipes in it, and it's a rock, upbeat, different song. It's called It's a Long Way to the Top If You Want to Rock and Roll.
Mm-hmm.
It's off of the High Voltage album. That's actually my 3rd song in the top 10 from that album. It was one of my favorites, top to bottom. But
are you on number 6 or number 5?
6.
Okay.
It's a long way to the top.
Okay.
But yeah, they have bagpipes. It's totally different. Just if you've never heard it before, this is one that I would strongly suggest to check out because it's not your typical AC/DC song.
Yeah. My number 5 is It's a Long Way to the Top.
That's
If
funny.
you want to rock and roll. And I think if you look on not the No Good Music page, but if you look up my name on YouTube, look up a guy named Sean Rao, and it's ROWE. And my wife and I, he has a very unique voice, this guy, and he plays acoustic guitar. And he was playing at this little gastropub near us in Columbia, New Jersey. And he whipped out this song. I mean, he has a lot of his own songs. Mm-hmm. He hardly does covers. On acoustic, he took a playing card and kind of put it, positioned it under some of the strings so he'd get this sound. So he could play it's very unique. And he did this song on acoustic.
Oh, that's cool.
And if I can find it, I'll show it to you, Jeremy. But it's very unique.
Okay.
So I love that. And I think, and this was, I want to say it was like 3-4 years ago at least. And I think I'd forgotten about that song until he did it. And once he did that, I'm like, I love this song. It's
Number 5, you already hit it on yours. This is my ringtone actually, but I have Thunderstruck.
Okay.
The only thing I want to add, this is one of those songs that 2 chords in, you automatically know what it is.
Oh yeah.
There's some songs that are just identifiable, and this is one of those iconic. Oh my God, there's Thunderstruck. You can just tell from the guitar.
So my number 4, and I'm not going to say where it is on yours. I shouldn't even said anything, but for those about the rock, we salute you. That's my number 4. I love, after Back in Black, this was their next album. And I love that album probably as much as Back in Black. So I remember when that came out, and I remember, because back then, they might have been playing some of the songs from the album on the radio. But just seeing the new album, I'm being excited about, Black in Black was like, huge. I don't know how many millions it sold. Could have sold 100 million. I don't know. So there was this big excitement about, AC/DC again. And, this was the next album. And yeah, it wasn't as popular, definitely as Back in Black. And then they each album probably sold less, but
right.
I just love it. It was a gold cover. I mean, I should have this on vinyl maybe someday. But
And it's like, if you think about the Civil War or Revolutionary War, there's just a cannon on the front. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Number 4 for me goes to all the fat women in the world. A whole lot
Fat
of Rosie.
Bottom Girls?
No. A whole lot of Rosie. Which is just a song with nothing but energy throughout the entire. And of course they did that song. Most of my top 10 got played, not all.
That's your number 4?
4.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's weird because we're crisscrossing here.
Yeah.
And I moved stuff too. I moved stuff around. But my number 3 is Whole Lotta Rosie. So you're like, I'm a little like.
You're one in front of me for
Yeah.
each one. So
Yeah.
like for a few of them.
Yeah.
Now.
So that was my number 3, Whole Lotta Rosie. Yeah, I always, and I love Bon Scott as much as I love Brian Johnson, you know, and I remember when Bon Scott died, I remember the, you know, Dirty Deeds album.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I had it at the time because that would have been, what was that, 78, something like that, 79 for that album. It was the last album he was on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I remember all of a sudden Bon Scott's, he's gone, you know.
Yep.
So.
Number 3. So this was the only one that didn't make it that I was bummed about. I was hoping my top 3 would get played. I thought I'd get 2 out of 3. I didn't know which 2 I'd get.
Yeah.
But number 3 for me was Ball Breaker, which is just an amazing, just energetic, upbeat, nothing but rock type song.
Yeah.
If you watch some of their older stuff, they actually have a wrecking ball that Brian Johnson would sit on top of while singing this song. But yeah, no, we didn't get Ball Breaker, unfortunately. So
okay, I think we're up to number 2.
Yep.
Now this one you had low on your list. It was number 28. But I always love this song because it's so different from, you know, probably like Hell's Bells is so different from a lot of their.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a slow one.
Yeah.
And there's not many slow AC/DC. Have a Drink on Me.
Yeah.
And it's bluesy.
Yeah.
It's just like mellow. No, I love. Yeah.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
Back in Black album again.
Yeah.
Number 2 for me, I was shocked that they not only played this, but they opened with it. So it really got my blood just boiling. No pun intended. If You Want Blood, You've Got It from the Highway to Hell album.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I didn't expect in a million years.
That's
to hear
why
that
I had
song
to hold
live.
back to tell you, you know, that's the set list.
Yeah, because I knew I'd get my number 1.
Yeah.
But I figured maybe one of these 2, but I honestly thought that I might not get either of them because Ball Breaker's not a super popular song. But If You Want Blood, You've Got It. It's one of those where AC/DC fans love it, but it doesn't get a lot of playtime on the radio. You don't hear it anywhere else. So I wasn't sure if it was something that they would play or if it was just, you know, going to be one of those songs
that was a great one
to
start with.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, my number 1, and you'll know what, and yeah, this song is overplayed, but this is probably the first song, you might know what I'm going to say. It's the first song I probably ever heard, and it made me love AC/DC, and it's Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. And yeah, it's overplayed, but it's overplayed, but I can listen to this anytime. I don't have the album, I do have the CD, but yeah, and I can I think I can play it. I think I can play this on guitar, so that's a plus.
There you go. That's cool. And of course, my number 1 was For Those About to Rock, We Salute You.
Yes.
I always loved the addition of cannons in the song. I thought that was amazing. When we saw it live, there were cannons on the stage lined up that they
see cannons. I like bells.
Yeah, but they were firing off the cannons. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's always been.
They were tiny cannons, but you wonder though, is it just smoke and then sound effect?
Probably.
You want to think it's real.
Yeah. Well, you could see some kind of flash, if nothing else. I mean, they made it look good.
Well, I just read, and you don't want to get too crazy. You know, Kiss uses fire, Like, and it's not fake, because when I saw Kiss or in the 10th row, and I could feel the heat from the flames that were coming out of the stage or whatever. But, you know, recently, this should have gone with our music news on the last podcast, but Jelly Roll has some pyrotechniques, which I didn't realize Jelly Roll would have pyrotech, but someone was hit with one of the, I don't know what, if it was, maybe it was fireworks, I don't know, but one of the charred pieces hit them in the scalp.
Wow.
And scarred them. I don't know if they're going to sue them.
Wow.
But yeah, you got to be careful.
For sure.
So I do have some honorable mentions.
Okay.
And I am mentioning, and I've mentioned it a couple times now, You Shook Me All Night Long.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't not mention this song. It's still a great song, you know, along with Back in Black. You know, anything, like you said, anything off the Back in Black album.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I do think it's the most overplayed next to Living on a Prayer, you know.
Right.
And then here's some other ones. Giving the Dog a Bone. I almost put that, I don't know, I almost put that on there, on my top 10. Walk All Over You.
Good song.
Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution. You had this at number 20.
Yep.
I love this song, you know, but you can't put everything on the top 10.
Right.
Shot Down in Flames. Just love the energy on that one. And this is off the new album, and I think it's one of the slower ones, Through the Mist of Time. And then What Do You Do for Money, Honey? I don't know, I just, because AC/DC is that, they're sort of tongue-in-cheek, but they're also, you know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sort of like Kiss had the sort of innuendo, but some of this stuff, I mean, you can kind of figure out Giving the Dog a Bone. I mean, it could be innocent. It could be something else.
Well, Money Talks kind of fits into that category too, which was on my list
Oh, yeah.
in kind of the middle.
Oh yeah, Money Talks I like.
Neither of us mentioned Highway to Hell. Obviously, I mean, everybody I think knows that song.
You know, I'm not a big fan of that. I don't think I was a big fan when it came out.
I like the guitar on it, but that's about it.
Yeah, I wasn't real crazy about the song when it came out, I think. I like the more, I do like I love the Bon Scott, I love the more energetic songs too.
The another one that probably everybody knows, this would have been higher on my list probably a few years ago, but then Iron Man came out and all I heard was Shoot to Thrill.
Yeah.
And it moved down. I ended up settling at 14 on it, but this probably at one point would have been a top 5 song.
Yeah.
If it just didn't get so overplayed. And then the only other one, you touched on songs that have different meanings, so I wanted to mention Big Balls. I had at number 11.
Yeah.
Which, of course, the lyrics, you would think he's talking about a nutsack.
Yeah, but he's talking about entertaining.
Yes.
In a ballroom.
In a ballroom.
Yeah.
Yes.
And no, I'd almost put that at top 10. That's always been a favorite of mine. And that song, for any guitar player, it's basically almost one chord. It's the E chord. Yeah. I'm serious. It's almost one chord. What I like to do is put song on, play along with my electric guitar. I've done that to some stuff, which is fun. So overall, we love AC/DC. Maybe we'll do a more in-depth. I mean, we've done the Brian Johnson book, and we've talked about them before. I mean, like I said before, I feel this is their last tour. You never know. I'm just surprised that Brian Johnson is able to tour with his hearing problem. I really want to look into what he had done, because he had hearing loss. And he had some doctor, I don't know if it was experimental, where he can hear again.
Yeah.
But I remember it must have been in this book, he said when he noticed it, he still had some shows to do. And instead of canceling the shows, he had to figure out what they were playing, by the vibration or something, because he couldn't hear.
Wow.
And that tells you that, people think all AC/DC songs sound the same.
Right.
Maybe they do in some way. I don't know. He could have been singing lyrics to the wrong song, though. We don't know.
Right.
So thanks for listening, everybody. And thank you, Jeremy, for coming over today.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this one.
It's only Monday, but we're already into June. 5 months into the year already. But it's starting to get warmer here in New Jersey, Pennsylvania. We've had some cold weather. I've been waiting to plant some tomato plants, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything else to say.
No, just thank you for putting this one. Thank you for putting this one together. This one meant a lot to me. Like I said, this is my all-time favorite band. So
yeah,
I had a lot of fun creating a list. It was really hard to do. Songs 31 to 70 probably could have fit in the top 30 at some point in time. That's how
No, doing these lists is fun because then you sort of rediscover stuff too that maybe you haven't listened to in a while. But oh yeah, I love forgot about that one. That's what I was doing with the songs
for sure.
AC/DC.
For sure. But I mean, just happy to go to the show with somebody who would actually appreciate it.
Yeah.
If I would have gone to this with Kristen, it wouldn't have been the same experience.
Yeah.
She could care less about AC/DC. Just let's put it, point blank.
Yeah.
Had I gone with even my mom, she likes AC/DC, but I don't think she would have been as into it as we were.
Oh, yeah.
Knowing that we love the group and just appreciating every song. And, going back to the set list thing, normally I look up a set list before any show I go to just so I have an idea of what I'm going to hear, because I want to know what the songs are if for some reason there's something mixed in that I don't know. But I knew every song they played. So
yeah,
I wanted to be surprised. I was. Like I said, I was really surprised.
That's a plus because
they're open.
Yeah, and we did not get bored. We were not bored at all.
No. I didn't sit the entire time.
I was just going to say, I sat a little bit because maybe I need better sneakers or something, but after a while my feet start to hurt or I'm shifting. I'm glad they had chairs there and they were all zip tied together. I noticed it, I kept thinking because they have to put this over top of the turf or the artificial turf and they're all interlocking. They're those interlocking that people might use if they have a garage or they're doing working on cars or something.
Right.
Or if you're standing for in a factory, I think they were kind of cushioned maybe. I don't know. But I'm sitting there thinking, how many people and how long does it take to assemble this? Because every show they've been playing stadiums and I look at people's videos and it's the same flooring.
Yeah.
So they have to take it apart, then put it in the truck. I just think of these things, but they got a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's what the tickets were, what they were.
Right.
But, we didn't buy tickets from a scalper. They were actual ticket price. And yeah, if we had gone to, I don't even know if they played, Wisconsin or somewhere, but I'm sure the tickets would have been a lot cheaper. I know some areas, maybe it's the demographic, when we're in the Philadelphia, New York area, and I think it's more expensive.
By default?
Yeah. Could be. I don't know.
I think so too.
I mean, I love that we have Wind Creek, Entertainment Center or whatever it's called. Because I don't know how far you are from there.
A little over an hour.
Yeah. And I'm 40 minutes. I mean, it's great we have a place like that because we don't have any other, other than little clubs or something. And that record store, that I talked about. So, anyway.
I do have Montage Mountain 20 minutes from my house, which is nice. But that's an outdoor
Jim
venue.
Thorpe, right?
No.
What's the one in Jim Thorpe?
That is Penn's Peak.
Yeah, I liked Penn's Peak.
Yeah, Penn's Peak is nice.
So, Kingfish, the blues guitarist, Chris Tone, I think his name is. Yeah, that's a really good place to see a band. I've only been there once, and then they have a little outside area that you can and look at the mountains.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
that's actually where Kristen just went the other night. She went to see Sammy Waters, I think it was.
Sammy Waters, okay.
Country artist.
Who went to see it?
Kristen with her mom. It was a Mother's Day gift for her mom.
Oh, okay. I was worried that maybe she likes country music.
She does.
No. What?
Yeah.
Well, she's not going to listen to this podcast anyway. But no, I like country music too. And I was thinking one more thing. I was invited to a concert at Archer Music Hall, which I did figure out is pretty new place in Allentown. And that's where hopefully Jeremy will go with me to see The Darkness.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday night, you said, right?
Yeah.
Then I could go.
I already have tickets.
Okay.
And I think it's general admission.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I can do Tuesday.
That's gonna be so fun. That band. I'm looking forward to it. And but I was invited to go see Lake Street Dive, who I like. I've heard they're interesting. They have like 6 or 7 people in the band, and they just did a rendition of Lola.
Okay.
Where there's a girl singer usually, but there's also a guy, so they're alternating the lyrics. And it's hard to, they're not a folk band, but I think they might have more acoustic kind of, it's hard to explain like what kind of music they aren't rock and roll, for sure. They're more like standard stuff. So anyway, that would have been cool if I had gone there and seen the place. But I had this cold and I was like, I wasn't sleeping. And, when you're not sleeping, I'm pretty sure it was general admission to stand there for a couple hours. I would have loved, because Tim's, I think it was his niece, someone just couldn't go. So, and he asked me, but anyway, so thank you everyone for listening. And this month by the time you listen to this, you'll have heard our first podcast, and we also have an interview Matt and I are doing with Emma Jen Clark, who we've interviewed almost to the day. Last May we interviewed her, and she had just moved to Nashville from Australia. She had been there like 2 weeks. We got to meet her in October, so we'll be able to talk to her about that and find out what she's been doing this whole year. She just put out a new album, which is reimagined her songs from her first album, or album last year, but toned down, like acoustic. And she's got a couple of special guests, and the one guy plays harmonica, and he is the harmonica player for the Willie Nelson family band since '73.
Wow.
And so, but we'll be talking. So that's our interview for the month. Trying to do just one interview a month, but we just love interviewing people. So remember, first of all, you can email us at nogoodmusicpodcast@gmail.com. I'm the one that retrieves the email, so I'll respond to you. Send us your music if you want to be heard on the podcast, or we just want listeners, tell us what we're doing, what you like, what you don't like. You want more sound effects? No, I've kind of toned down on those. And so thanks for listening, and remember,
turn off the TV
and turn up that music.
You've been listening to No Good Music. Today's show was produced by Rob J. Lilly and recorded live and unedited at the Did You Say 7 Studios in Washington, New Jersey. You can find No Good Music on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and almost anywhere you listen to podcasts. Intro and exit music by the band 99%.